Hi, I'm Jason Debley. Tonight's whiskey review is a single malt Scotch from a distillery, the Lone Distillery, on the Isle of Jura. The Isle of Jura is located adjacent to and northeast of Islay, and this particular distillery presents a whiskey. This is Jura, 10-year-old age statement, and it's entitled Origin, aged exclusively in ex-bourbon casks, and is unpeated. Now, they say it's unpeated, but it does have some marine-like quality notes in the flavor profile, and I would suspect that the peat notes come from the water supply, because Jura is a pretty desolate island. It's very mountainous, hardly any vegetation, a lot of bog, and it's like 7 miles wide and 30 miles long, with one road, one distillery, and one pub. And I think the peat comes from the bog, but although this is an unpeated whiskey, the water supply, the water may pass through that bog, that soil that is peated, and contribute to the flavor profile. That's my theory. What else can I tell you about this whiskey? It's cheap, it's not expensive, it's widely available. It is artificially colored with E150A, or distiller's caramel. The alcohol by volume is 43% in Canada and the US, and in the UK it's 40%. Very astute reader of mine on the blog said that this is probably due to taxation. Taxes are higher for the corporation if it's the higher the alcohol by volume is, or at least in the UK. So that might explain why in the UK it's 40% and 43% for me. And other than that, I will move into our tasting note. On the nose, banana. It's creamy, like whipped cream. There's a honey sweetness, and it's faintly floral. And you got a bit of that marine-like quality I was telling you about. It's not peated, it's not overly smoky. It is a simple nose, but it comes at a very simple price. You buy this at a grocery store, you're not spending a lot of money. It's creamy on the palate. Banana, oak, melon, honey, coconut. White cake bread. And there is a marine quality, even though it's not peated. And as for sherry, there's no sherry in this whiskey. This is aged exclusively in ex-bourbon casks. This whiskey falls down on the finish. And what I mean is, starts out okay. Like I said, mid-palate. In the palate, you're getting notes of cream, banana, oak, cake bread. It's working. But then on the finish, you're left with a bitter note, a tight green apple, slightly acrid, and then there's some green pepper. Bitter lemon seed and orange pith, white orange pith. It's a bitterness it's a bitter finish that tells me this whiskey would have been better to have been aged a little bit longer. I haven't had any Isle of Jura. I've had some other whiskeys from this distillery. None of them have really wowed me, but for a 10-year-old single malt to be released, I think it shouldn't be overly bitter like this is on the finish. that finish is a bit of a letdown. When I first opened the bottle, it really bothered me. As I progressed through the bottle over a couple of weeks, I'm starting to get used to it and like it a bit more. But I think this whiskey is all about the price. If you get it really cheap or you get it on sale, hey, you're getting a 10-year-old single malt that delivers the basic goods. A fairly pleasant profile. The finish is a bit bitter, but you can live with that because you got it cheap. If you have to pay a lot of money for this, or there are other, like I would take Glenlivet 12-year-old over this, and Glenlivet 12 would be the same price, if not cheaper. Glenlivet 12, I would take Glenfiddich 12. I'd probably take this over Glenfiddich 12, but I think most people would take Glenfiddich 12 over this. This whiskey in general, I can't recommend. It's a basic single malt that I think needed a little more time to age, and it didn't get that opportunity. Do I recommend it to buy it? No. Thank you for tuning in. They can't all be winners. Cheers until next time. Thanks for tuning in.